This film follows the journey of the Shrewsbury LGBT History Festival as it makes its own history, unearthing stories, bringing people together and building inclusion in Shropshire. It shows how small yet incremental steps can have a big impact and how Shrewsbury really has become more of a rainbow place over the years. It really all began here.
LGBT History Month is really important.
And actually celebrating our lives and our achievements and recognising that we've always been here, even if we might have been hidden.
It's a celebration of being proud of who we are and not hidden away and apologetic for who we are.
Learning about other people has helped me come to terms with myself.
I think it's been appropriate because Shrewsbury has been becoming a rainbow place for quite a few years now.
I was quite interested in the older LGBT history and how they survived and how they lived.
To me, this is as meaningful as having gone to the White House or speaking in the House of Lords or anywhere else, because change happens here.
Looking at LGBT history is both a celebration of lives lived and a reminder of the struggles that people may have been through to be who we are. Stuart Milk reminded us that his uncle, Harvey Milk, one of the world's first openly gay elected officials, was willing to speak out as an openly gay advocate, not only for the LGBT community in San Francisco and beyond, but also for all those who remain marginalised or discriminated against. Harvey stood up against fierce societal fear and prejudice before he was brutally assassinated by his political opponent, Dan White. As you saw in the clip there, we screened this story, The Times of Harvey Milk, in 2016. Having listened to Harvey's nephew Stuart and heard many inspiring stories of those willing to stand up and be counted, we realised that the least we could do was to continue to open up opportunities to share, encourage and inspire others, building on what we'd started in Shropshire and creating something that would leave its own lasting legacy. Looking back, we were amazed that the weekend panned out so well, that people came, were inspired, entertained and seemed to want more. And many volunteered their time to help make the weekend the success it was. How then could we not do it again? So, year 2, 2017, that dawned, and while there were familiar faces, many new ones emerged to share more stories about where we've been, what we've been doing, and where we're going. We continued the weekend festival feel, assisted by University Centre Shrewsbury, who gifted their building, which complemented the community feel of our other home at the Hive. And for the second year running, we had an exhibition in the museum and art gallery, which felt fundamentally important. Once again, we drew speakers, presenters, performers and audiences from near and far.
There's a strong community feel always about the festival here.
I think Shropshire is really punching above its weight, and it's wonderful to be in a place in a county like this.
It's been a marvellous few days.
The atmosphere has been great. It's been very friendly, very open. People are quite happy to talk, and I think that's that's more how it should be. And particularly for somebody like myself that's coming for the first time and coming from outside of the LGBT community. I learned an awful lot last night.
You feel accepted by everyone and you feel like you can be like who you are instead of like kind of hiding away.
Because it is a real community festival and it goes beyond just presentations, to have the cabaret here tonight, to have the films tomorrow night. It's like history is actually a part of our total culture.
I've enjoyed everything so far. As I say, there's not been a dud moment so far. All the presentations have been very high quality. What I'm looking forward to, well, obviously listening to the students today, because, you know, my old teacher's heart beats a bit faster when I hear about good things happening in schools.
I think taking part, doing like a presentation in front of everyone was very scary, but I managed to do it. I think it's great that everyone comes together, especially in such a small place as well, that not many people know that Shrewsbury exists.
I think it's really important that equality and diversity in all its forms are represented in every town in England, and I think it gives people a safe place to be within the town.
You know, we all need a sense of roots, and if you don't have a sense of roots, I don't think your sense of identity is as strong as it would otherwise be.
It makes me so thankful that these are the people who fought for us to have rights, and there's no way you can ever say thank you for that, because they did it selflessly. They didn't just do it for themselves, they did it for us as well.
So what we've got here represented are the giants on whose shoulders this work is continuing, and it is a long continuation. We're not there yet, but it is so heartening, so positive for us as a community to get together, to celebrate, to recognise where we've been, what we're doing and where we're going.
And if I've learned anything from the work I've done, is that everybody's story is different. And so what I'm now thinking about LGBT history is we've got to preserve the diversity of it, so that all of us, LGBTQI or whatever, will be able to recognise ourselves somewhere in that story. So I guess that's the next job.
In addition to the events you saw there, in 2017, once again, our key speaker visited schools and colleges, giving presentations to hundreds of school children. In 2017, this was Caroline Page, the first transgender officer to serve openly in the UK Armed Forces. Her gender transition raised demands for her immediate dismissal as a liability and danger to personnel on operations. But Caroline met those challenges, becoming a highly respected tactics specialist and receiving several commendations for exceptional service. Like all of our speakers, Caroline is passionate about sharing her own story in order to help others. So, the festival was quite a buzz, but it was also very hard work. After our second year, we decided that while we wanted to continue on this journey, we would take a different approach. Spreading out the events over February, LGBT History Month. Exploring further the use of different media to uncover stories, reveal lives, and celebrate achievements. We did not have the capacity to stay formally involved with the National LGBT History Festival, but our established relationship meant that we were still able to benefit from their contacts, and we remained supportive of each other. This also meant that we could change from being the Shrewsbury Festival to being the Shropshire Festival, although that of course brings its own challenges, but we'll go there later. At this point, we also had very limited funding, so no professional filmmaker. Despite this, we presented a full programme which even included LGBT+ pottery. It's true! And to this day you can go and see the results on display in the garden at the Hive. The original soundtrack accompanying these clips was created by young people involved with Shropshire Youth Association's XYZ group at the Hive, written from the heart. And we feel privileged that incoming Mayor of Oswestry, Sandy Best, agreed to us including her own very special announcement in our film. Here is a summary of the 2018 Shropshire LGBT+ History Festival.
Do not come out. be. I'm not a speaker or a leader, there for everyone to see. I am myself, and that's all I am. I am myself, and that's all I am.
There is so much to myself. Thoughts and words and dreams. They keep me going through the wind and the rain, listening to voices in my head.
Not just a glass ceiling breaker, teeny weeny things.
I actually spent 4 years in the Air Force hiding my sexuality. That I'm actually, will probably be honest to say, the very first open gay mayor there will be in May. And my Met Rest will be my partner of 25 years.
Going on in schools to talk to people about LGBT experiences, to raise awareness, to make sure that the next generation of people understand that inequality and discrimination is something that needs to be past and not our future. I'm really proud my sons are here today, who will also be part of the generation whose responsibility it is to make things better, to not accept hatred, to not accept discrimination, to not accept any form of second best or second class citizenship, because we're all people and we are all the same.
By 2019, you'd have thought we'd have cracked it, wouldn't you? But we are all still voluntary and cramming all of this in and around life in general. This year, we kept to the format of running events over a full month and crowdfunded to fill the coffers. It is worth saying at this point that our audiences have always been generous with donations, and we've always tried to keep events either free or low cost. We moved to the Hive for the whole festival, and we were particularly pleased to include a presentation on LGBT+ asylum seekers, accompanied by a discussion with inspirational individuals who were themselves seeking asylum at that time. The complexities of assuring personal safety by having to prove your legitimate LGBT+ status are at the same time bizarre and critical, and it is a horror how so many of those countries where homosexuality is still illegal and or punishable by death inherited that legacy from British colonialism.
Rites of Passage, RIGHT, shares the experiences of those who, in fear of their lives, come to the UK from countries with anti-gay laws.
I personally have been refused because they don't believe me, so I'm about to put in a further submission. That's more proof to let them know that I'm lesbian.
Don't think your rights came overnight. So many people had to fight to gain anything like equality. We ain't there yet, but we're gonna be. Institutions instigate internal indignation. We brought up and betrayed by this nation. Isms and schisms of my Babylon home have held this king back from his throne.
I held on, to that hope. And that's what drove me and still drives me now, and I'm 72. I'm still at it, and I'll never stop because the fight still goes on.
There were attempts to push us back into that time, pre-GLF, back into being invalid and invisible. And we weren't having any of it because we'd come too far by then.
Our LGBT plus club at Millbrae School has grown from one very brave young man who came after school to drink tea and just talk about Alan Turing to a small, thriving community enacting positive change.
Love is everyone under the sun. Love is everyone. Oh, love is everyone under the sun. Love is everyone.
By 2020, we are the Shropshire, Telford and Shropshire History Festival, and we had another original soundtrack from the XYZ group, which we used to accompany bits of our film. Back with the professional makers here, thanks to some funding from the lottery. The aspiration was to catch all events for LGBT plus History Month under one umbrella, no matter who was organising them or where they were located across the county. So here we had presentations in Telford and exhibits in Ludlow, alongside the events in Shrewsbury. Possibly just as well, as Shrewsbury found itself rather dramatically underwater. Somehow we managed to scrape through and only had to cancel one event. On the night when the Environment Agency were warning people not to enter Shrewsbury Town Centre. We missed COVID by the skin of our teeth.
As we arrived, the rainbow flag outside, it's like, oh, well, know, we're here. They're welcoming
you suddenly
us.
feel,
yeah,
don't you feel
something?
Yeah, well, you feel acknowledged, don't you? Validated.
Do you think they know? Do you think they know?
We're always going in cycles, aren't we, in the world, I think, in history, and it's just really important to remember the past so that you can learn from it and definitely appreciate what you've got and what people have done for you.
By understanding our history, we can have a much better understanding of our future, and we can be better prepared for potential risks or issues that might arise.
Our history isn't celebrated, is it? It's not recognised.
The pre-internet age was so lonely for people like us, and hearing other people, like the people here, speak, that's incredibly interesting to hear other people's perspectives.
It's like anything, you meet other people, you connect, don't you? It's the connection.
Growing up, I never really had any experience, no one really talked about LGBT topics. I wasn't really used to it as a discussion. I think bringing it into the open, discussing, is such an important topic to discuss.
Well, it's an event obviously about pride and making awareness for schools and the importance of teaching LGBT history to younger people to make it more widely accepted.
It's very fun and relaxed at the same time.
Oh, it's really fun.
Yeah. It feels nice because it feels like a really safe area where everyone in the room is a really accepting person.
Very nice community.
Yeah.
it's bringing that, visibility much wider to a wider audience, isn't it? And saying we matter, we're here, we want more of us.
I'm glad I came.
This song is to all guys I've known, clap along. I think it's time for me to live alone. My life is full with no regrets. Thank you. I have my friends who wanna exit in my pets. That's brilliant. Get the choruses.
On the back of the 2020 festival, and in light of COVID, lockdown, isolation, impact on well-being, we applied for lottery funding once again for 2021. This year was to be very different, with everything programmed online to avoid the risk of having to cancel events. The festival's aim has always been to engage all audiences, but this year we felt that the LGBT+ audience was most in need of the festival, most receptive to it, and in the end, most engaged with it. Because of the online platform, we had greater impetus and opportunity to bring voices from across the globe, and we also tested our own knowledge about the online world of presentations, and even theatre. Our bid included funding to appoint an events coordinator, finally a paid role to support the festival, and not one, not two, but 3, as we also had funds for a marketing officer and a filmmaker. The 3 roles were filled in the late stages of 2020, and it was a challenge for them all. Meet the team.
We could still come together to celebrate LGBT history.
We featured stories from across the world.
It was really good that you had the Zoe Lyons comedy on Valentine's Day.
My favourite wine, if I had to declare, would probably be the box.
I think I'd gone off to get a cup of tea, and the next thing I heard was all this commenting from Zoe.
Ruth Middleton's just showing off with her kitchen there.
It felt just like being on the front row at a comedy event.
One of the events I went to was the Theatre of Liberation.
Two fat old queens.
And it showed all the qualities of the new art form of Zoom theatre, which I found worked absolutely brilliantly.
So now we'd like you to have a go.
In answer to the question, as an LGBTQ+ person, what would my message be to my younger self?
I think it's very, very important that people understand that we've been around as long as people have existed. We have had places in societies.
200 years on, and you shall never know the half of it.
Well, tonight is a special night. It is the launch night, the publication day of Free to Be Me.
It doesn't need to just be one day where the kids are learning about all these historical events like Stonewall, Section 28, all these things. That needs to be within our curriculum. It needs to be the norm.
Well, the Gay Young People Showcase is interesting because I'm an ex-teacher as well and was also a gay teacher in London. And therefore, what's happening in schools is very heartening, really.
I watched the March for Dignity in Georgia and the film was absolutely fascinating. After the film, I contacted them on Facebook because I really wanted to encourage them that we are hearing their story, we know that they're there and we want to support them.
I came away sort of thinking, what can I do to support people elsewhere?
So my name is Melusis Milane. I'm from the Kingdom of Eswatini. I'm founding executive director of Eswatini Sexual and Gender Minorities. We were very grateful for the Shrewsbury Festival to raise an amount of about 250 British pounds for us, which translating to our local currency, we were able to pay for a full month's rent. So that was really great, because it felt as though the guys knew how much we need to pay for our office rent. So that is exactly where it went to, and they paid for a full month.
I wonder what future challenges will arise for our LGBT+ History Festival as it paves its own path. Whatever they are, I hope you will join in, and having seen these clips, that you now feel more familiar with the festival, its achievements, activities and aspirations. Why don't you walk with us?